So I finally got my, not all of it actually, but I got this plugged in, the SH7, and I got the Mother 32 plugged in because I finally got the lead for the Apollo, because I got one of those because I was getting sick of essentially not having enough holes to plug everything in at the same time, and since I've been streaming, it's been a complete nightmare because I've been having to unplug things and plug things. So anyway, I got one of those, and that now means I can plug everything in at the same time. So now that I've actually, hey Manuel, now that I've actually managed to at least plug in a couple of things, although I haven't quite worked out how to stop the kind of the sequencer on this thing running, so it goes like that every time I start it. So I've got to sort that out today. So I'm going to do a bit of splurging using some of this gear, but also bear in mind you can always ask me questions. So please, if you have any questions at all about your music, about what I'm doing, about your broader music career, anything at all really, then please feel free to ask. I'm not sure how much wisdom I will be able to give you, but I will give what tiny soupçon of wisdom there might be in my brain. So and say hello. Let's avoid lurking. Lurking is not what we do here. That's a bit. Turn this up a bit. Yes, I am going to use the High 7. Yes, I am going to use that Boss Looper at some point. What happened with that was Andy. Hello again. It's one of my masterminders. I just was talking to him yesterday. So, hello Robert. Hi Rich. Hi Christoph. G'day mate. So yes, I am going to be using that Boss Looper. In fact, it was right here about 15 minutes ago. I had it plugged in. But again, it was just getting too, there was too many things to think about. So I was like, right, Mike, lower the bar. You know, if there are 3 words that I probably say more than anything else to myself and also to anyone who I'm helping in whatever way or working with, it's lower the bar. So I'm definitely going to use that. That's in my kind of plan, but I'm trying to do useful stuff as I'm adding stuff. You know, I think often I've noticed that a lot of people, they get loads and loads of stuff without doing anything with it, and then there becomes a huge mountain to climb in order to kind of actually use it. So basically, I've now plugged some of these machines in, so I'm going to start using them, and eventually, it shouldn't be too long. I'll be able to start using the looper. I did have a bit of fun with it a couple of weekends ago, actually, just on my own, playing some stuff in and everything. It's not that I want to be a looping artist exactly. It's more that I just really want to encourage the live. When I say live, the live creation aspect of what I'm doing. Manuel, I'm not sure what you mean. Can you make some answer to question today? I think yesterday I definitely did a lot of answers. I'm not sure what you mean. Anyway, so let's get going. So the first thing I'm going to do is strange. Hello, Robert. I answered this exact. Is this like Is Robert a bot or something? Because I answered this exact question yesterday. So I'm going to presume that Robert might be a bot. Because she's asking the same one again, or he wasn't listening when I answered the question yesterday. Anyway, what's going on? I'm not going to worry about that. Yeah, I mean, I spent about 15 minutes answering your question, Robert. So, sorry, you weren't here for it. In this stream, obviously because I'm doing multiple things, I do stuff and then I go through some questions. So if you want your question answered, you're gonna have to wait around. I'm not like I'm not a button that you can push and immediately get your question answered because I'm doing other things as well, and I've also got other questions to answer. So the answer is I'm working in my own style, but that isn't a specific genre exactly. So there you go. Hey JP, yeah, go and have a look at the video yesterday if you want the full answer. Yeah, no, I answered the one about trees, and I also answered the one about working on a specific genre. Can I describe in depth what the thing is? That's a good question. All right. Hello, Mason. I'm glad you're not a bot. So, yeah, I think yesterday I answered all questions, so it's very strange that everyone seems to think that I'm not answering questions. But anyway, let's have a look. The thing. Now, the best way of describing what the thing is usually to listen to some other people's music where a thing is very clearly described. But I don't want to do that. I mean, I can't really do that because that would involve violating copyright laws. So let's listen to a piece of my music. How about that? The only problem is I haven't made sure. What I might have to do actually is open a piece of music I'm working on because I haven't made sure that the computer music that's coming through the music is. I haven't done a test of the sound levels. I don't want to deafen you. Yeah, well, it wasn't at that point, Robert. Trust me, I did it. I've seen it. I've seen the recording. Okay, I answered your question. Let's move on. So let's find a piece of music. Yeah, let's find the one that I was working on. No. Actually, I'm not going to close it. Not part 2, not part 1. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. Turn it off and on. There's the solution. The solution to everything is always to turn it all off and on. So, you can hear me now. Okay, so, and also this isn't going to work anyway. So I'm going to have to do a, close that. Right. Okay. We're in. I will have to do just an explanation of the thing, rather than actually showing you, and I will show you another time when I sorted things out. Okay, so the thing is that it's one element, whether it be a groove, a part, it could be a melody, it could be a bass line, it could be a particular little motif, but it could be a chorus in a song. It's the thing that people are waiting for the most. So another way of putting it is that when it's gone, it creates the most tension when it's gone, when it's not there. Okay, so when it comes back, people are like, right, that is the thing. And I've checked out lots and lots of music, that the genre of music where it's not, I mean, it kind of is clear, but it's clear for different reasons, but it kind of is in classical music, although classical music does have a thing. In fact, often it has multiple things, because it's a bit more complicated. But certainly in popular forms of music, all kinds of music have a thing. And it's not just a hook. It's not always a hook, because there's a lot of kinds of music where it isn't a hook. It's not always the chorus. So, for instance, in kind of big room EDM, the vocal often isn't the thing. The thing. I mean, usually in big room EDM, the thing is what comes in at the drop. Comes back in at the drop, usually. So that's the definition of the thing. And why it's useful is that when you know what the thing is, you kind of know where you're starting. So it kind of it's a really handy way of figuring that out. So Murofly asks a question. Where is it? Let me find it. How do you improve if you don't improve, no matter how much music you make? For one thing, I don't believe you. Something must have improved, and that sounds like a kind of despairing sort of frame to come from. Something must have improved. It's not possible for things not to change. So that's the first thing to say. I'm questioning your perception there. The second thing is, and I'm also questioning, when you say music you make, what do you mean by that? If you mean how much time I've spent in front of a DAW making music and not actually finishing it, then, and I don't know any of this, you could well have been doing that. So I'm just going through the various different reasons that you might be perceiving that you're not finishing. You're not improving. So number one is that you have improved and you're not noticing it. Number two is that you're not actually making music. You're just working on music, which is a different thing. Making music means finishing music, even of a bad quality, because until you've actually finished it and say to yourself, this is done, you cannot truly learn from it. I know that seems unusual to some who maybe haven't finished any music, but there is a perceptual shift that happens when you say, okay, I am done with this, even if it's rubbish, I am done with this. That means you get a distance from it, which means you can learn from it. So if by making music, you are saying, if by making music, you're just saying, I'm just spending a lot of time in front of the DAW, but I'm not finishing anything, that's the reason that you're not improving there. If you are finishing music, Then there's another perceptual shift that happens when you put it out, okay, into the world, in whatever way, okay. If you haven't done that yet, well, there's another reason you might not be improving. But then the final reason that you might not be improving is because you're not pushing yourself. You're not pushing yourself into. Maybe you're trying to do everything. Maybe you're trying to be good at everything, which means, like, let's just say that you've got 100 points of focus to improve. Yeah, I know it doesn't work like that, but let's just kind of make it very simple. You've got 100 points of focus to improve. If you try and improve 100 things at the same time, then you're going to go 1 point, and let's say that you can increase 100, you can get better by 100 points. Yeah, we're making it up here, but you can get better by 100 points every year. Yeah. So if you're trying to improve 100 things, you're going to go 1 point better of all of those things each year. So it's going to feel like you're not making progress. Whereas if you focus on one thing, you're going to get 100 points better on that one thing. If you focus on two things, you're going to get 50 points better. So that's the final reason, maybe, that you perceive that your music isn't improving. So, 7. Can something get to the done folder, even if it's got a lot of work still to do? Melody tweaks. Oh, yes, absolutely. Let's just go into my done folder. I got tired of waiting for my Stream Deck to come. So I actually got the app on, and I remembered that I have an old iPhone. So now I've got that ready for this. So let's have a look at my done folder. Actually, not my done folder, but just have a look at the stuff. And I've actually got more done stuff than is showing up on here, because come on, there we go. So yeah, so I've got more done stuff than is showing up on here, because I only started labeling using these green labels probably about 6 months ago or something. But anyway, search cards by done. All right, so here is all of the stuff that I has made it into the done folder since I've been labeling things with the green label of done. So there's more than that, but anyway. So a lot of this, I mean, that's got a lot. I mean, that's got a lot to do. That has got a lot to do. That's got loads to do. That I'm not going to release. That I'm not going to release. That I probably won't release. That I won't release. That I won't release. This, I'm going to basically redo the whole thing. Actually, maybe not that one, part one of that, wherever that is. So as you can see, which one? The fields, where's that? This is basically a piano thing that I've got to replay, but it is done because the composition is done. So I basically need to replay it. So yeah, absolutely. Done is basically the done column is it's done in a certain way. Yeah, because I don't release everything that I finish. That's one of the ways you get to higher quality. Yep. Okay. Let's do some music. So I've answered some questions. Oh, hang on a minute. What's going on there? I don't want the preset on that. So strange. The mouth may well be out of sync, Rick. If it is, I'm sorry. I'm not going to deal with it now. So, no worries, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just recording an audio for a while. using the defam, and I'm going to start with. I'm just going to pick a random tempo. So let's just say 112. There we go. I'm going to leave that out, I think. Okay. Right. Is that going in? It's very quiet. Oh, that's why. So I'll just turn it up here. So what I'm doing right now is just basically randomly creating stuff. Weird. Let's do something crazy. Well, not that crazy. A little bit crazy. Alright. And if I... Ear splitter! Okay. Let's stop that. And let's answer some questions. Glopair, for the Countdown Splurge, there wasn't a review. What 3 review questions would you ask? You can ask any of the questions that you asked in the earlier review. And by the way, Glopair is talking about the Idea Explosion Challenge program. I mean, really, the review of the Countdown Splurge is when you listen. That's a form of review as well. So there is a review. It's just the listening to everything. But yeah, you can ask any similar questions as the previous reviews. Okay, and Glopair is talking about the Idea Explosion Challenge program, and just so that you know, if you haven't done that yet, I am offering it again. I'm offering it for free again. We're starting this week. Starting from this weekend, I am going to be doing daily live streams alongside the Idea Explosion Challenge program again. In the description or in the post to this, if you're watching on Twitch, it won't be there. So go to my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, and in the description is a link to where the order form, and you have to put in a code, a coupon code, which is Practice 2020. Your $50 gift card will be applied, and then you can get this program for free. And then I will teach you fully this Splurge methodology, which is basically how we start ideas. It's not the full banana, it's not the whole process, but it will get you unstuck if you've been stuck on music. And when I say will, if you do what I say, obviously, and I can't guarantee that you will do what I say. So yeah, but if it doesn't get you unstuck, then you can have all your money back, which is 0 because it's for free. So if you want to take the Idea Explosion Challenge program for free and see what my actual coaching is about, rather than me just blithering on and making silly noises on these machines, then click the link in the description or the post, and you can get in for free. Do other people get quite anxious that they are not doing enough when it's midnight and you choose, let's say, watch an episode of a series rather than continue your project? So I always find these other people questions interesting. Like, what does it matter what other people do? Do you get anxious when that happens? I'm presuming you do, otherwise you wouldn't be asking the question. And also, the next thing that you said is, I know some musicians that would work through the night, and I'm a bit reluctant to do that at least all the time. So there's a lot of stuff going on here which needs to be questioned. I do think it's good to grab the inspiration or not let things sleep for long, but how do you guys draw the line when it's time to take a breather? Yeah, so there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of other people. Other people do this, which must mean that. Yeah. And I would question that in general. I know some musicians who work through the night. I also know some musicians who are addicted to heroin. Does that mean it's a good thing to do? No, not necessarily. You've got to find your own path, and you've got to find, well, and I know that's a ridiculous example, because it's fairly obvious. But it's like, you need to find your own path and not just go, oh, my, working through the night has some kind of magic. It works for them. Okay, I used to work through the night, and I can tell you from experience, for years, I did it for years and years and years. I can tell you from experience, yes, I did make music, and yes, some of it ended up being successful. It went really well. In fact, I can actually find one record that I particularly remember working through the night on. I just saw it yesterday. Well, this one for a start. This is the remix I did of U2. I worked through the night on that one. And where is it? There's another one down here somewhere. In fact, probably most of these records I did some kind of nighttime working on. But I can guarantee that it would have been better had I not worked through the night on them. Because for me, anyway, I'm not saying this is true of everyone, because as it turns out, which I didn't realise for years, I am a morning person. So it's not my best time to be working on music. A great time to be working on music for me is when everybody else is asleep, but that isn't necessarily through the night. For me, that's waking up insanely early. Okay? So the interesting thing about early in the morning, and I'm not saying you need to do this either. Yeah. The interesting thing, but it's up to you. It depends on you and your schedule and what works for you. But one great thing about working in when everybody else is asleep is there aren't any distractions. It's close to sleep as well. There's something dreamlike about it, which kind of changes what you do. I have to say, I haven't been doing much working early in the morning because I've been focusing on these live streams, which has been a real effort because of all of the setup. And then I'm sorting that out gradually, which is why I've got the various different machines. So yeah, question that whole thing that just because other people do it, it's the right thing to do for me. It may well be, but it may not be. The other thing we need to question here is I do think it's good to grab the inspiration and not let things sleep for long. Now there is an assumption. The thing I always come back to about inspiration is that inspiration is for amateurs. I mean, it does. We do all get inspired, and I like to be inspired. So, for instance, there was a point in that little thing that I did there with the DFAM where I was really enjoying it, and I was getting into it, and it could be described as being inspired. Yeah, but that just made it more fun. It wasn't necessary. Yeah. So yeah, it is good to grab the inspiration when it hits. Absolutely, I'm not questioning that. But let's just not make that high a bar. If you need to be inspired in order to make progress, you ain't going to make much progress in your music. You're not going to make enough progress to make a real dent. You have to cultivate the ability to make progress when not inspired, because that is going to be the majority of your creative process. That's a simple fact. Okay. Then, and not let things sleep for long. So I'm pulling apart your question here because there's lots of assumptions in there. Let's go back to the computer and let me just show you something. Tell you what, it's a lot easier with this little Stream Deck plugin doing this, and it seems to be working well. So if we go back to these done tracks over here, in fact, can I do something with this? So actually, this probably needs to be more in here. I think over here. Actually, no, I haven't quite done something on it. But this track, I mean, in fact, no, let's just take any of these tracks because I think it will work. So let's have a look at when I started with them. And here you can see my real name, Michael Mukhopadhyay. All right, so I first splurged this on August the 28th, 2019. You probably won't be able to see that, but it says Michael Mukhopadhyay, which is my real name, added this card to Splurge. Okay, so that's when I actually splurged the first idea for this out. Okay, and now I've almost finished it so that was August 28th, 2019. And you can see I worked on it in August, then in September, October for a bit, and then there was a big break till February 2020. So I did a few on March. All of these things are different things I did to the card, so it could be adding checklist items. And then there was a big break between March and May. Okay, so there is a belief out there that I do. You must strike while the iron is hot, and if you don't get it this time, it's lost forever. That like a lot of really, really successful and prolific creators of all kinds, writers, musicians, have this very, very strong belief. And I have now tested this. I had that belief too. I have tested, the idea that, and the belief being the idea that if you do not finish the idea when it's hot, it is gone, and there's nothing you can do about that. That is a lie. I mean, when I say it's a lie, they're not lying. They're being truthful. They're being honest with their experience, but they haven't questioned the reality of that enough, because it's just not true. Okay, so you don't have to. And that's not to say that it's not a good thing to do. So I'm not saying don't strike while the iron's hot. It's too hot. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm saying, yes, do that, but don't stress if you don't get it that time. Okay, because you can come back to things. Okay. More questions. I'm just going through here. How do you guys draw the? No, so I'm just finishing off this question. So not let things sleep for long. So I've addressed that. But how do you guys draw the line when it's time to take a breather? Take a breather. I mean, I actually very strongly recommend that you do take multiple breaks. I also recommend that if you have a short time for a session, do a session. There was a quite a famous music production teacher, coach, who I heard say, or somebody told me that they said, if you haven't got at least 4 hours to make music, then forget it. And I was like, okay. A lot of what this person says is fantastic and very, very, very. I think they're great, but right there is a terrible piece of advice. It's like, you got if I needed 4 hours every time I made a piece of music, I literally would not make any music in my life right now. So take a breather. Don't worry about it. Exactly. I let some stuff sleep for years. Okay, just checking to see if there are any more questions. Okay, so this is somebody, TLMTR, is asking, let's go back over here, a question this is from the LEAP program. So this is a different program to the Idea Explosion. This is my kind of top program. TLM is saying, for the week 1 MVS Splurge, still having trouble finding the best app. Best, right, correct, best, right, okay. So why I do that is like the word, yeah, your problem is, TLM, you're looking for the best. You don't need the best. You don't know what the best, there is not best. Best does not exist. Best does not exist. Best is a fiction. Best is like perfect. Best is, let's forget about the best. When I do say words like best and correct and right, you will often hear me saying that's not a good word to use in this context. The reason you're having trouble is you're trying to look for the best. You don't know what the best is for you until you've tried it. Okay? Now, if you were buying a synth which costs thousands of dollars or pounds, whatever currency you're using, euros, then there is an argument for doing some research to find something that fulfills certain functions well. But still, you won't know what the best is until you've tried it. Okay? And even after you've tried it, you won't know what the best is because you don't know what you don't know. Okay? So, first of all, remove best from your mind. You're not looking for the best, you're just looking for something that works. Okay? So, let me ask you, TLM, TR, have you found something that works? You probably have. Well, then use that. Another iOS app that is great is called Gadget. I mean, there's a wealth of them out there. Just try one, splurge for a week, and then try another one. Or don't. If you enjoy that one, keep on that one. Yep. Stop looking for the best. Look for something that works. Okay. MVS Splurge is a minimum viable session. The original Splurges for the Begin tracks. Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, so The Begin is my album that I released last month. Maybe I will do a listening party live stream at some point about some of the tracks from The Begin and do something like that. That might be quite interesting. I'll do that in the future. No, you're not taking the time. I'm taking the time. Yeah. I think there's a lot. From what I can hear from that question, there's all kinds of assumptions and things going on. Like, be questioning all of these things that you are believing are true, because that's where the real gold is. It's like, it's amazing what comes out of our mouths and all of these invisible scripts that are there. Oh, they're doing that. Oh, that means I've got to do it. All that kind of thing. So just okay. Let's come back to this. Oh, it's just so much fun being able just to go like that rather than have to. Okay, cool. So right, there was a bit in here where I was really enjoying myself, so I'm going to find that bit. Where it got a kind of funky around here. Okay. In general, with things like making templates and finding gear and using gear. I mean, with an iOS app, you're not. There's so little downside because it's so cheap, or even free. That you just don't need to. You really don't need to spend any time doing this kind of, finding things. There we go. Is that where it started? There. Right. So what I'm going to do now with this one, I'm going to use this as the kind of. Oh God, come on. There we go. Hang on a minute. Is it this playing? That's what it is. You fool! Yeah, okay. Let's start there. Right. Okie dokie. How old are my kids? 10, 7, 4, and 2. And they're all boys. So as you can imagine, it's quite a merry little dance we have in the Monday household. Whew. Okay. I don't think I'm the champ, actually. I think it's probably going to be more like my wife is the champ. Given that I spend a lot of my time down here, running ting down here. So I just want to acknowledge that. Okay, I've got a bit of a. Turn it off here. Okay, there we go. some kind of very noisy bzz. Okay. So let's start with the SH7. And I've got it plugged in via yeah, I've got it. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, so I've got it plugged in because it hasn't actually got MIDI, this thing. So I've had to use a Kenton MIDI box. It's just got CV. So I've got it plugged in via MIDI through here, so I can actually play it here. Right, it's proper filthy, that thing. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn it off MIDI, because while you're playing MIDI, you can't use the keys on here. So in order to come up with the sound, you know, come up to play a part, I'm going to turn it off that. It's got some real grunt, this thing. Right, let's have a play around. It's still playing in the background. It's just like the oldness of it. Can you hear that in the background? Alright, let's try that. Whoops. Headphones! Oops. Idiot. Right, okay. Whoa, what happened there? It's very strange. earth is going on? It just went nuts on me. Oh, the joy. The joy of old analog synths that suddenly do weird things. What is that? There's some kind of LFO to there. LFO to. Alright. That'll do. Oh yeah. Oh, I wonder if that working. Ooh, the mod wheel works. How interesting, I never knew that. That's what happened. I touched the mod wheel. So Diplo Diver is saying, I started the challenge today and it's been amazing so far. Brilliant. Yeah, just keep going. Make as much as possible and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? You'll make a bunch of rubbish ideas and the odd good one, and you'll learn a lot on the way. All right, let's try and play something. Okay. After a little faffing around, we got somewhere. Ish. Not sure where somewhere is, but we did get somewhere, and that's all that's required. So actually, what am I doing? I'm just going to play it through and have a listen back. All right. Okay. Hi, Knife. How you doing? Okay. I just want to do an experiment, and this isn't because I'm splurging. I just want to see what happens. I'm not actually splurging right now, but I want to see what happens. And I need your help, folks. Can you hear this? Because I can't. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Oh, that's my voice. What's going on? One, two. So that's my voice. That's the wrong one. This one. That'll be why. Right. It's interesting. The delay was on my voice. Yeah, I pushed it to the wrong thing. But now I can't hear that. It's weird. Okay, why is that? Think about it. Why is that? Actually, what I could do is just a lot simpler. Delay. Sorry, can't resist it. Feedback. Delay. Anyway, sorry. Couldn't resist. So let me think about this. If I put this on here, that'll probably work anyway. So I'll just do it the easy way rather than having to think about it. I'm not going to bore you with me thinking about something. Let's try this and see what happens. So what you're currently watching is somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing and doesn't kind of. It's like how I figure out how to do things is just by doing them. I don't. It's like I try stuff, and that allows me to figure it out. I don't go searching online for information usually. Things like this, I mean, because I'm a bit thick in these kinds of areas. Like stuff like this, yeah, it just like routing and things like that. It's just. I don't want to say it's not how my mind works because if I'm sure if I tried and really really learnt, it could be how my mind works. But at this point, it isn't how my mind works. So trying to figure it out kind of conceptually doesn't work for me. I just need to try stuff basically. So okay. So can you hear the delay on that? Can you folks hear that? Yeah, good. Okay, cool. I'm sure I'll work out the way the route things are going through. Because the reason that I'm not sure is because what I'm listening to is the cue, right? And what you're listening to is what's coming out of this whole thing. So obviously, if I think about it really, then obviously you are going to hear that. And the person who might not hear that is me. So and obviously I would because it's on the channel. But it's like I still haven't quite got my head around how I've set this up. So I've got a question. Yes, I ask people if I can't figure something out though. Yeah, I ask people first, and then I leave the Google till last. Usually I try and figure it out myself first though, for a significant period of time, because in figuring it out I learn a lot. So I would rather do that than just going, here's a step-by-step thing to do that, and not quite the thing you want it to do, just a slightly different thing. And then you do that, and then it doesn't do exactly the thing you want it to do, and then you're like, ugh, and you just end up like, looking at pictures of, I don't know, toast that looks like Jesus or cats or something, on the internet. So, first I try and figure it out. Then I ask somebody who might know, like a friend or someone like that. And then sometimes, often at that point, I will actually try and do it a different way. So that's just me there. So my Rev 2 is here. Stream Deck! Thank you. My Rev 2 is hiding. Come out, David. Come out, David. Here he is. Got a little dust on him, as you can see. So yeah, no, I am going to plug him in, I think, because I accidentally broke a knob, so it means I probably won't ever get around to selling it now. Yeah, I'm going to plug it in because now I've got enough holes. I've got enough inputs, so I will at some point, but not yet. So what am I doing? Yep, this. Oh, I see. So, anyway, I'm going to stop faffing around. I'm not splurging right now, as you might have noticed. I wanted to use the mother, but for some reason I can't. I've got to get the instructions up, and I'm not going to bore you. But every single time I press play, it starts the sequencer. Check this out. Why is it not playing now? Oh, it's because I unplugged it. In my... There we are. Like that. So, yeah, I'm not going to use the mother, so I'm going to have to go on to... I know I said I was going to hardware splurge, but basically I've had a massive fail on that. Like, I seem to be having a massive fail on everything in these live streams right now. So I'm just going to go on with the usual stuff over here. Okay, so... Alright. Okay. Oh, it's out of tune. Hey, Ro. What I'll do is I'll stop that. Actually, no, an easy way of doing it is to do this. Get this in tune. So that's sharp, I think. So got. That seems to be changing there. Hang on a minute. Am I just doing the wrong VCO? Tuning? Ah, there it is. Something like that, anyway. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. One of those anyway. What do I think about atonal music? The same way I think about other music, or I think of other music. I like some of it and I don't like other. Yeah, depends, I guess. I studied a lot of atonal music at Oxford, and some of it I just thought was like, ugh. And other stuff was great. I'm gonna play that again because I want to play a longer part, and also the other thing I want, just to get a bit of a vibe, is a bit more of that. Okay. Oh, ouch. Should have moved the camera then, shouldn't I? Sorry about that. Anyway, you would have seen me grimacing with pain. Need to do more practice. Okay. So I'll just tell you what's going through my head right now. This SH7 part, I'm just not feeling in the slightest, but I'm going to leave it in because it's a thing. Yeah. And this SH7 part led me to this part. I would not have played this part without that part, because I wasn't into this part. I was almost like, I was doing something that the me not liking this part created. Now, I'm liking this part. Yeah. Now, whether I like it or not is neither here nor there because I'm not focusing on quality. Yeah. But I'm just telling you the thoughts that are going through my head. So, in other words, this bad idea, or no, it's not a bad idea necessarily, I don't know. But this idea, which let's just say I don't like it, and I'm just questioning whether I'm right about that or not. But this like led to this part that I do like. So this is what I mean by letting go of quality, and this isn't a great example because I'm not going, oh, this piano part is amazing. It's not like that at all, right? It's not a work of genius by any stretch of the imagination. It's very badly played. However, the point being, in terms of ideas, this is what happens. This bad idea, when I say bad idea, this idea which I'm not into, yeah, led to this idea which I am into. That is how the creative process works. So we need to remove particularly at this stage, I mean, it's kind of true at almost any stage, we need to remove this quality barrier when we are creating and just keep moving forward. Yeah. So let me just check to see if there are any questions. For some reason, I've got a question, I think. Yep. Somebody called Music is saying, hello, Mike. It's an early morning, 6:30 a.m. in your area, isn't it? Do you get up so early to do a stream, or you have been making music all night long? No, I definitely haven't been making music all night long. I wake up at, I was up at 3:30 this morning. I do that to, well, I was talking about it earlier, basically. I don't stay up all night. I get up early and get that kind of nighttime goodness by doing it early in the morning. That's partly because I have children, so I can't really stay up late into the night because they get up unfeasibly early. Not as early as me, though, so I have a certain amount of time before. The other reason is that I am in Australia, so in order, a lot of my business is conducted really early in the morning in terms of coaching people because I've got clients in, America, Europe, and that's in fact where the majority of my clients are. And just because of the time zones, that means I have to get up early. But I mean, the reason I get up so ridiculously early, like kind of 3:30, 4 in the morning, is because that gives me a bit of time to do creation before anything else. So I started this live stream at 5 in the morning, but I still had, an hour beforehand to do my own thing, morning routine, meditate, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, there you go. So, and also I'm coming to the end of this live stream, I think, and I feel like I haven't got very much done at all. It's been one of them. I feel a little bit at 6s and 7s at the moment, to be honest. But anyway, let's keep pushing on. But what I'm going to do is, how am I going to do this? Because I've got a very long. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut it off here. Because at the end of the day, this recording here, at this part of it, was it's kind of the same thing. So if when I listen back to it later, I go, actually, I really want to work on this in the future, I don't need to hear all this to know that, because it's basically the same idea. Just tweaked a bit. So really all I need to do is move this stuff over. Because right now I'm thinking about what do I need in the future to make a decision as to whether to move it forward or not. Yeah. Okay, I got another question, I think. Don't know why the comments aren't coming through there. Matt, when you splurge, do you always lay down tracks one at a time, or do you sometimes get a few parts going that you record at the same time? Does this matter? No, I don't always lay tracks down one at a time. I mean, kind of, because there are some generative things that you can do as well. So I don't think it matters. It's up to you how you kind of how you do it. If you're into doing multiple things at the same time, so you've got two hands and you're playing two different things, I think that's absolutely fine. I mean, if you can do that, then go for it. It's up to you. I tend to do things one at a time when I actually think about it. So, my voice is louder. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sort that out. I can't do it right now.